Hi, I'm Steve, and I'm a retired broadcast engineer. And the title of this video is How I Narrate Audiobooks from my home office using Audacity. Now, in previous videos, I showed the equipment I used, or the microphone I used, which happens to be a Blue Yeti microphone. That's what I use to record my audiobooks with. This is it right here that I'm recording with. It has a pop filter on the front. It's a snap-on kind made for the Yeti, and I have a windshield over the top, which was also made for the Yeti. And this towel that I have over the sides of the Yeti, not in front of the microphone, but over the sides. It gives me a little bit more edge on the noise floor in the room. Now, one of the biggest myths in audiobook narration is that you need a $3,000 booth and expensive software. And today I'm going to show you how I produce audiobooks from my office using Audacity. So here, let's start Audacity. So here we have Audacity open, and we'll record a little snippet here so here we have Audacity open. We'll just record a little something. So here's a short little paragraph, and you want to make sure your microphone is placed at the right spot and recording levels and what a healthy waveform looks like. So there's a little snippet. So some of what I just said there. Microphone placement. With microphone placement, there's a rule of thumb that you can go by, is that you take your hand with your fingers spread apart, and you put your thumb to your lips and spread your fingers apart and put your pinky to your pop filter. That's about how far away you should be from your microphone. Now, this is a matter of experimentation. You'll figure it out as you go. So here's a little snippet I recorded. And we'll take a look at first the levels. So here's a short little paragraph. You'll see up here that my level you want to make sure your minus 18 and minus 15 the right spot. That's not bad. Most of the time you want to be between minus 12 and minus 9. But this works fine for me. But you want it to be in this range, the minus 15 to minus 9 range. You typically don't want to go above that. You don't need the waveform to fill the entire screen. This gives you a little headroom and helps you to reduce the room noise. Okay, now that we have a little snippet recorded here, I'll show you the first things I do when I'm editing in Audacity. Now, the first thing you can do is we'll put the playhead there. And if you hold the control key down while you move your mouse wheel forward, you can expand the waveform. Okay, so we have the waveform expanded. And now if you hold the shift key down while you move the mouse wheel, you can move forward and backward through your waveform. You can also move forward and backward through your waveform. Let's get it repositioned here. You can also move backward and forward through the waveform using this slider down here. But I find holding the shift key down and rolling the mouse wheel to be the quickest way to do it. Now, when I'm editing my audio, I usually read about a paragraph or 2 paragraphs, whatever feels comfortable at a time. And then I stop, and then I edit my audio. Now, in editing my audio, I have a couple of things I follow. I use macros to do most everything in Audacity. I use macros when I'm editing. I use macros when I'm making the finished product, and I'll get into that a little later in this video. Right now, let me show you what I do to kind of edit this audio that we've made. We'll play this back real quick. So here's a short little paragraph, and you want to make sure your microphone is placed at the right spot and recording levels and what a healthy waveform. Now, what if I didn't want that breath right here? So what I have is a couple of free plugins that I've obtained. It's called Paste Copy and Paste Copy. Hang on. It's called Punch Copy and Punch Paste. So what I do, and these are free, and later on I'll show you how you can obtain some of these free plugins I use. Almost every plugin I use is a free plugin. There are some exceptions. So we'll highlight this, and I have a shortcut key called C that calls up Punch Copy, and we'll come in here and we'll copy that little snippet. And once we have that little snippet copied, I can go here to the part of the waveform that I want to edit. Let's say I want to take that breath out. And then V I use for my shortcut key for paste. So now I just paste that in there, and boom, that breath is gone. And if I play along here, the right spot and recording levels and what a healthy. So that's taking that out. If I want to make sure everything noise is out of that, I can just highlight that whole section and at the right spot and recording levels and what a healthy waveform. Now, if I thought that was too much of a pause there between this and this, I can edit that also. I can go in here, and one of two ways I can do this. I can split this audio here using, I programmed all my shortcut keys to my taste. You can do the same thing. S I have set up to be split. So if I hit S here, I split this clip. I can shorten this clip and now move it closer together, and now spot and recording levels, and now I have my spacing is better. You can also do this by moving them together. Let's put these back together using the join function. And I could also have done it by highlighting this and then hitting delete. And now that moves them closer together too. But that's a little more destructive editing in doing that. Okay, there's a couple of other things you can do while you're working in this. One is you can go here to this audio meter on your left-hand side, and while you're holding the control key down, you can scroll your mouse wheel forward and you'll increase the waveform. Now this just increases the waveform on the screen. It in no way affects your audio levels. This just lets you see the waveform better. Your waveform is still exactly the same as you recorded it. It just magnifies it. And once I did that, you see, I see this little snippet of noise there that I don't want in my audio. I don't want any of that noise in between. So using my copy paste tool that I have, I'll take that out. And if we go along here, let's use the shift and scroll, and we'll scroll down, and I see a little bit of noise right there. So I'm going to use control and zoom the waveform out, and I'm going to highlight that little piece of noise there, probably a breath, and I'm going to take that out. Now we'll bring the waveform back, and you see some noise at the end here. We'll just come here and we'll remove that too. I go through the entire paragraph or whatever I've done, and I'll look for breaths. Now you do want to leave some breaths in. That It pretty much seems to be the standard nowadays to have some breaths in. But this is a matter of taste for you, and when you're editing, what you want to leave in, what you want to take out. And sometimes I think a breath is in the right place, but too loud, so I will simply reduce the amplitude of the breath. So now, let's say let's say I made a mistake. I'm narrating along just fine, and I screw up a sentence or leave a word out or something I need to correct. So let's take an example. We'll record something here real quick, and whoops. I just want the marker right there to start. It will start at the end, but I just like to be sure. Okay. So let's just say the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Over the lazy dog. So there's a mistake. What I did was I just made a clicking noise with my mouth, and I produced these sharp lines. Now, it's up to you how you want to do this. Some editors, there's many different ways to do this. Some narrators use a dog clicker to make the noise, and whenever they make a mistake, they'll hit that dog clicker, and that puts these spikes in here. I just got used to making a clicking sound with my mouth, and that way I know I've made a mistake and I can go in and correct. So if I come in here, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Over the lazy dog. And so we'll look, the dog. Lazy, the lazy, over the lazy, over the lazy, over the. So I'm going to expand this out. Over the lazy, that's where over the lazy, and I'm going to take, and let's move down here, and we'll put that until I get it right about to there. We will delete that section, come back. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So there's a mistake. Now we fixed that audio, and that's not a perfect editing splice there, but that gives you the idea of how you make a marker, and then you can go back and you can cut out the spot that you made the mistake and move your fixed spot back into place, and using a little practice and tweaking, you can get the timing just right. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. That's not bad. Okay, so let me show you one other thing I do here. You see a little noise there and a little noise there. I use a macro. I will highlight this, and what the macro is if I were to go up here into my effects, and volume and compression are actually noise removal and noise gate. And so what I do is I apply a noise gate to when I first start, and I take this noise gate and I have it set up to minus 36 dB. I have the level of reduction at minus 30 dB, and hold and decay, pretty much all the rest are default, but I set this to minus 36 and I set this to minus 30. And what I'll do is I'll apply that noise gate to the audio when I first start. And so that reduces most of this noise artifacts, clicks and whatnot in the audio before I start. Anything left over that I don't want in there, I will use my copy paste my blank spot in there, and boom, I now have a clean noise floor right there to start. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So there's a mistake. The quick brown. Okay. Okay, so now we want to get into the meat of the production here. Let's say that this is my my finished chapter, and I want to now master that into my ACX finished product. So what I would do, one little quick tip before we get into the mastering is what I do when I'm making my audiobooks is I usually record a chapter at a time. Each chapter is a separate file. Lots of ways to do it. I know some narrators I've seen and looked at that record the entire book and mark it off in chapters, or there's many ways to do it. Myself, I do a chapter at a time, and each chapter is a separate file. That's the way I like to do it. It's a matter of personal preference how you like to do your audiobooks. Anyway, when I'm doing a chapter, what I do is I make a label track. And in this label track, I will mark what page I'm on. So if I go here and let's say this is page 1. So I'll mark that page 1. And then whenever I come to a new page at some good point where I think I can insert it, before I start the page, I will insert another marker and say, this is page 2. Now, what good is that, you might think? Well, let me tell you, if you're going along and the author comes along and he's critiquing your work and he finds you made a mistake or mispronounced a word or left out a word or whatever the case may be, usually the author is going to tell you, well, on page 5, you said this instead of that, or you left this out, or you mispronounced this, or whatever it is. Most authors do not have the capability to tell you the timestamp up here. They usually don't have that capability. I've had a few that did and would tell me at, 10 seconds you said this. That's great. That's a super time saver. But if they don't, and most don't, what they usually tell you is, oh, on page 5 you said this. And you need to say that. Okay, so if you have this one big, huge audio file, where is page 5? You have to scan through the entire thing until you find where you made the mistake. Okay, but if you've marked the page numbers down, you can quickly go to where page 5 starts and quickly scan through and find that mistake and correct it. How would I correct it if I made a mistake like this particular one? So there's a mistake. Let's say, so there was a mistake. So what I would do is I would add another track, and I would use it as my editing track, put it in solo mode, and record my corrected audio. And say, so there was another mistake. There was another mistake. And there's some corrected audio. So I would go up here to the audio I want to correct. I would split this audio, delete this clip, and insert this audio in. We can take this out of solo now, and we will run the noise floor on this and do my little noise reduction for that little noise blurb there. The copy paste. And now I have the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Oh, and so there was another mistake. So there we go. So now I fixed that mistake in the book that the author wanted fixed. There's lots of ways to do it. This is the way I like to do it. There's punch roll which a lot of narrators like to do, is the punch and roll. But this is the way I like to do it. It works well for me, and I have it down to where it's quick and easy, and I can easily correct any kind of errors like that. So now we want to master this. So what I do is I will take this file right here and I will copy it. Just a plain old Control-C. Make sure the entire file is copied. Come down here, make sure we're all the way to the beginning of the track, and I'll paste this file. And there is my pasted audio right there. Now remember, we amplified this, not really amplified it, but we zoomed in on this waveform. So this is actually the right waveform. If I go up here and I double click and reset it back to normal, you'll see they're identical. So now I will mute this top track, and now we have this track in edit. I do this so that if I make a mistake or screw something up when I'm doing the mastering process, I still have my original. So you want to keep your original intact. That's just a good practice to save you much time and heartache. So now what I do is I have these macros. Let me show you real quick the macros I have, how I do this. And later on I'll make videos on how to set up these macros and how to tailor them for your own use. So let's look in Macro Manager. This is the macro I use to insert my noise gate. When I get a paragraph done, I'll highlight that paragraph. I'll run this macro, which is just the noise gate effect, set up just like I showed you when I pulled it down from the effect menu. Audio drop is another little one I have. It's simply the amplify from it. And if I have a breath that I want to reduce, I have this amplify set to -6. So I'll reduce that breath by -6 dB to drop it down to not be so loud. And that way the breath is still in there, but just not or something like that. And it sounds more natural. Okay. And I have this macro called First Pass. And in this First Pass macro, I have a filter curve EQ. This is an Audacity filter curve, and it's called filter curve EQ. And what I do is I roll off at about 75 hertz. I do a low cut, and then I do a high cut over here at close to 20 hertz. This just helps roll off any low noise frequencies in the room and any high noise frequencies you might have in the room, and just helps to give you a better noise floor. And then I have this voice denoiser. This is the Viator DSP, as you can see here. And you can get this free. And if you're using Audacity, you can get this free on MuseHub. You can, if you don't want to use MuseHub, you can also find this plugin from the Viator website and download it. It's free. And well, it's not set right here, but I usually have this set at 30% for my use. And later on, I'll show you how you can tweak this for your own personal use. But for me, this my microphone has a very good image rejection, so I don't get a lot of noise floor. So we'll set that, and okay, so we have that set. Make sure it's stuck here. Nope, it didn't stick. I need to go over here and hit apply. Okay, now, there we go. Okay, so now that's my First Pass macro. So I'll show you here in a minute. Then I have a macro. Yes, I want to save the changes. Then I have a macro called second pass. And in that macro, I have I'm using the RX 11 tools. Now, these are not free tools. They're about 80, 90 bucks to get the package that has the denoiser and declicker and de-esser and stuff in it. It's well worth the price to me. You can find these as free utilities. As a matter of fact, Audacity has a declicker and de-esser built in, and you can use those instead of paying for a package. I just happen these RX tools are very good tools, and I went ahead and just bit the bullet and bought the package, and I'm glad I did. Anyway, I have another denoiser in here. It's called the voice denoiser. I have it in automatic mode. It's called adaptive mode in here, but it's really automatic, and it just goes along and it automatically reduces the noise in my voice if there's any. Then I have a declicker. I have it set up to remove clicks from the audio, and you'd be surprised how many there are. You might not hear them all offhand, but if you run this, you will see. And I'll make a video on all these different plugins and how to get them tweaked to your particular voice. I wouldn't use any of the settings you're seeing on the screen here. They need to be tweaked to your particular environment and voice. But this is my chain I use. So then I do a de-esser, and I have it set up for my voice and my, that might be in the audio. It helps a great deal. And now I have a equalizer. I have this equalizer set up to enhance my voice. I have this little notch here. It kind of removes that boxy sound that might be in the audio. And then I've tweaked the highs a little bit, and the rest I've left alone. So that's my EQ. You will have to EQ for your own voice. And again, in a future video, I will show you how that's all set up, and you can tweak it for your own voice. And then I run a compressor. I compress at about minus 20 dB and at a 3-to-1 ratio. Yeah, there we go. Ratio is 3-to-1. The rest of these you really don't need to worry about. Defaults will work fine. You can play with the minus 20 dB if you'd like. I like minus 20 dB. It seems to work well for me. I won't go into detail about what a compressor does. Let's just say it helps your voice have a better sound. It compresses the peaks and increases the low volume and kind of gives you a level volume throughout. Okay, and then I also have a de-reverb. I don't have it set very high because I don't have little to no echo in this room, but I have found that if you do have echo in your room, you can remove it using these de-reverb tools. You have to be careful with this. If you have a lot of echo in the room, it's best you don't record. You can remove it. The more you remove it with one of these tools, the more you damage your audio. It just won't sound the same. But used in a very minute settings like I have set here, I think it gives the room a little more depth. But that could just be me too. Anyway, and that is my audio chain. That is what I use to master. So the first thing I will do now that we have our file down here to run it, is I will go up here and I will run that first macro. Apply macro, and we'll apply the first pass. And that will apply that EQ to cut off the high and low ends, and run that noise filter. Okay, so I've applied that. Then we will run in here and apply the second pass. I have one called Second Pass Sergio. I'm working on a friend's book, and I have all these tools set up for his voice. But anyway, Second Pass Steve. We will run that. That will apply all those tools I just showed you in that macro. And now my audio is ready to go. So here's a short little paragraph, and you want to make sure your microphone is placed at the right spot, and recording levels, and what a healthy waveform looks like. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Okay, so here's the original. So here's a short little paragraph. And you want to make sure your microphone is placed at the right spot, and recording levels, and what a healthy... my computer seems to be acting up a little bit. It sounds like I'm getting a little breakup, but that's not really the case. So, okay, so now I've run those macros. I have the file EQ'd, compressed, everything is processed. Now, we need to make it to ACX level quality. So what I do is, well, let me show you a little trick. What I have is I have a program set up here called Audiobook Template. Let me bring that up a minute. Here's the audiobook template. Now, what I have here is exactly the way I've got, was showing you. I have the other. I have my main, where I record my main chapter. Then I take and copy it, and I put it in this edit mode. And then I will take, and I have one that's called master. And in this master file, I have this Loud Max mastering tool. That is a free plugin that you can get. And I also, usually in here, it didn't show up, but let's put it in here. I have the Ulean loudness meter. Now, I'll show you how this works in just a moment. Let's go back and grab my audio here. Whoops, wrong one. Let's go back and grab my audio here. Let's just take and copy this and do a copy. Now we'll go to this book template I just opened, and we will paste that into my mastering track. Okay, there we go. Now that is in my mastering track. So here's a short little paragraph, and you want to make sure your microphone is placed at the right spot, and recording levels, and what a healthy waveform looks like. Okay, so you can hear the difference there, much louder. So what we do, or what I do, is I'll have this Ulean loudness meter, also free. You can just do a search for Ulean and you can find this loudness meter. It does have a paid version, but I found the free one works just fine. So I come up here and I set it to mono, and I will set this to ITU-R, the 1770-4. This gives me the closest to what I need for ACX quality, which is, it can't be higher than -18, and I forgot what the low point was, but I usually try to keep my audio level at a -20. And that it gives me good headroom and safety features. So what I'll do is I will play, we'll just, since this is pretty short, I'll loop this. Okay, and then we'll bring up the Ulean loudness meter that I just closed. Let's bring it back up. Whoops, where did I put it? Okay, sorry about that. I lost my Ulean loudness meter there for a minute, and I lost my loud max. So now we have those. I have it set to loop. We're going to play this audio back. And you want to make sure your microphone is placed at the right spot and recording levels and what a healthy waveform looks like. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So you can see it's telling me here's a short little paragraph. -22 to -23. You want to make sure your microphone is placed at the right spot and recording levels and what a healthy waveform looks like. I will increase the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So here's a short little paragraph, and you want to make sure your microphone is placed at the right spot and recording levels and what a healthy waveform looks like. -22 or -23. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So here's a short little paragraph, and you want to make sure your microphone is placed at the right spot and recording levels and what a healthy waveform looks like. So you can hear quite a bit of difference in the audio. So I have that set to where I would like it. Let's reduce the waveform here a little bit. So now I have... So here's a short little paragraph. I have that all set the way I want it. That is the loud max and the Ulean loudness meter. I have it set to where it's ACX quality. Now all we need to do is master it. So I have a shortcut for this, but what you can do up here is you can go to tracks, mix and render to a new track. I have made that shortcut R. You can see the R there. So we'll just mix this and render it to a new track. Boom, there is the track. We'll mute this track, and there is the finished product. So here's a short little paragraph, and you want to make sure your microphone is placed at the right spot and recording levels and what a healthy waveform looks like. Okay, so now I have another little tool I use. It's called Analyze and ACX Check, and it will run and it will tell me I'm at -3 dB, which is good, -3.1, which you can't go, above -3. So that's good. It gives me a little bit of headroom. And my RMS is at 18.77, a little bit high, but still well within ACX range. And my noise floor is at -84. So everything passes. This is good to go for ACX quality audio. This would pass the ACX checks. Now, one thing I will tell you about this ACX check in this, sometimes it will tell you your noise floor is too low. Something below -100 or 0 is too low and sounds incompatible. That is nonsense. ACX will take it. The lower the noise floor, the better. Even a 0 dB noise floor, ACX will take, as long as it doesn't. Sometimes if you get too low a noise floor, you'll get clicks when your audio stops and starts. That you don't want. But as far as the noise floor being too low, that is, you can ignore that particular warning. Now, noise floor too high, definitely not going to pass, but this is within range. So this audio would pass. So that's how I record and master at home. Now, let me show you just a quick example of an actual book I'm working on. This is a book, let's mute that one. This is a book I currently have in production. This is a chapter out of a book I'm actually working on now. We'll unmute this track. You can see I have my page numbers marked. And this one is actually one I have completed already. So this is where my initial read, the raw audio, sorry about that. Transplant movie star wannabe, Linda Mathers turned and asked Ashton, "Are you?" Ashton decided Linda's disdain of her had absolutely nothing to do with her personally, and so she simply replied, "My birth certificate has Los Angeles." Okay, so that was the raw audio, and then I have this track here called the edit track, and in that track I have run the macros. I have copied this track up here, pasted it in here, run the two macros, the pass 1 and pass 2. Had a younger sister. Her father had died when she was 15. Okay, and then I took this track, copied it, and pasted it into the mastering track. And we'll unmute that. And you can see I have my effects here, my loud max, and my Ulean loudness meter, which for some reason always comes up in stereo mode. But it's no big deal. We'll just set it back to where I like it set. And if we were to play this track now, let's move that a little bit. Play this track now. "Maxine," Ashton replied, "the same neighbor lady who's taken care of him since he was about a year old." Ashton skipped to talk about herself. At about -22, "I graduated from UCLA, she said, computer science. I'm here because of opportunity of sorts, but the challenge as a woman is more significant." So, there's my mastering track, and here is the final chapter produced. So we'll unmute this. This is my chapter produced. Kurluck shrugged and explained there was a latrine up at the front entrance since Ashton was going there anyway. Ashton hauled her luggage into room 2B. One side of the room was a... Okay, so that's my finished ACX audio. If I highlight this, go up here to analyze and do my ACX check, you can see that I'm at 3.1, 21.23. I usually like to be at -20, but that's still well within ACX standards, and a -84 dB noise floor. This is ready to turn in to the author and upload to ACX. So that is how I produce audio from home using just my home studio, my office, and Audacity. In later videos, I'll show how to use Reaper and might throw in Adobe Audition too, but definitely Reaper. But right now, I'm using Audacity, and this is how I record audiobooks from home with Audacity. At the end of the day, the audiobook wasn't produced by a booth. It wasn't produced by a microphone. It was produced by a narrator using the tools available to him. You can do the same thing. I'll see you in the next video. And if you have any questions or you would like a video on a specific topic, just put it in the comments, and I'll be glad to see what I can do to make some more videos. I'm going to try to produce one a week and get more in-depth with where you can get the macros and how to set up macros and where you can get the plugins for free. Okay, I will see you next time around.